guys, it's Abigail of the Black Book Space. I want to talk to you today about one of my favorite books because it is Halloween today, so we can get a little bit spooky. Come back in a moment and let's chat about this book. So, the name of this book is The Other Black Girl. It's by Zakiya Dalila Harris. I have probably talked about this book more times than any on this channel, but because it is the spooky season, we just had the full moon, I want to bring it back up. That's one of the reasons, right? Because this is one of the scariest books I've ever read. It scared the hell out of me. Being a person in the workplace, I am not a full-time entrepreneur yet, so I do have to be around other people, and sometimes people can be a little creepy and spooky. I've never met any co-workers like these, but you never know. Books like these really make you think. Another reason I'm bringing it back to the forefront is because this book is now a series, I believe, on Hulu. I have not watched it yet. I'm kind of afraid to watch it, not because it's that scary, but because I don't want it to be so different from the book that it just ruins the whole thing. It was such an incredibly written story. I know people had mixed views about it because at the end, Nella does not fare too well. I really wanted her to get out. So Nella is our main character. She works at an editing firm and she wants to be this amazing author, editor. She was inspired to work there because of Kendra Ray, one of her idols, who also worked there, and she ends up missing. So she works there, and in the beginning it wasn't too bad. She did notice that she'd probably be the only person who were in some of the meetings about diversity and things like that. Even though she wasn't the person who necessarily needs to understand that, she was usually the only one there. So it wasn't the best place to work. Then all of a sudden, enter Hazel. Hazel is the new shiny new black girl who comes to work at the firm, and everyone loves her. She's quite the people pleaser. She's always code switching, to the point where she kind of throws Nella under the bus at one point because Nella has a lot to say about this book that one of the authors wrote that was quite offensive to black women. Like, the woman in the book had like 12 children and had this wild name, and several different men fathered her children. Like, just a lot of like stereotypical things that may or may not be considered offensive, but she considered it to be like a big trope of black women, and she did not like that. So she spoke out about it, and the author in the room was really upset and like started crying. Was like really offended that she said this. And then they allowed Hazel to read the book, and in the big staff meeting, Hazel kind of called her out, like saying, well, some people may be offended by this. And she looks over at Nella and she just like lost it. So the book really speaks to a lot. It makes you wonder, how far are we willing to go for some of these corporate jobs? Who's out there maybe putting things in our hair grease to turn us into crazy people? What forces are out there? What spooky forces are out there? And more than that, like, what are we listening to? What are we taking in our mental diet that may allow us to act this way, to kind of like lower our standards, to be able to work somewhere or to fit in with other people? It's really interesting to think about. That's why I love the book so much. Highly recommend it. The Other Black Girl by Zakiya Dalila Harris. Comment below if you have started watching this series. I have not, but I'm considering it because I do want to know how it compares to the book. So that's all I have for you today. I hope that you do something that brings you joy, and I will see you later. Bye.